Ted Lasso Season 2, Episode 11. We are reaching the end of this season. That's right, this is the penultimate episode. We have one more left. And this was pretty interesting because it leaves me going, what the hell is going to be that next episode? There's just a lot of kind of resolution in a sense in this episode. Like we take certain characters, we give them their final story. So I'm like, what else can we really show in this season? What else do we got for it? And I'm just amazed by how creative the show is when it continues to do these incredibly fun and interesting stories, giving characters new things to experience and explore this far into a season when we're this close to the finale. It's really cool. So I think one of my favorite storylines this season and this entire show has been the progression of Nate. And Nate has been a character, love him or hate him, and I know a lot of people hate him. His trajectory has been the downward spiral of a man who is eager to, be on top. He's power hungry. He even says to a bunch of people in this episode, what would you do if you were in charge, if you were the captain? And you can clearly tell that he is ready to take control. He's buying for the play. He wants to be in control. He gets a joke put at him because Ted bought him his suit. And then, he kind of gets mad at Will for that. So now it's like, I have to go get my own suit. He asks if Keeley can help him because she's got a big shoot coming up. So she's already going to go look at clothes. And what transpires is a very important arc for Nate. And that is, of course, he wants to be the guy in charge. He's never had a voice. Ted kind of gave him a voice. And now he is looking to be in charge of everything. So when they're out looking at clothes, he just slips a little kiss to Keeley when she's saying sometimes you got to command a power and take what you want. And she doesn't play it off as just don't do that. She's more like, it happens, just very casually I'm sorry. And I think that on top of Roy joining the team as one of the coaches and just people making fun of him, the Wonder Kid, Wonderkin stuff, and the things with Will and the suit, it just all comes together in this beautiful trajectory for Nate that I know not a lot of people like the character, but you got to commend Nick Mohammed for just being I will take the beatings for a bit if it means giving this character an arc that's different than the rest of them, because no one is having a story like Nate this season. He is just going in this completely different direction. Last episode he was secretly talking to Rupert. You got to wonder, what is he up to? And we'll come to what he's up to at the end of this episode after we get to everybody else's arc. A lot of good stuff in here. This is Dr. Sharon Fieldstone's final time with our team. She is headed off. She is just going on her way. And, it's been the end of the year. She's helped her players out, and now she's going on her way. And Ted wants to do something special for her, throw her a party. So they're practicing Bye 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 by NSYNC as one of the dances to do. And you just, that's a great scene where, because, Jason Sudeikis has done that before on some, I can't remember, what show. I don't think it was SNL, but I know there's some clips going around of him doing that dance on a different show, so that's definitely his input into this. And you just see he's it's from the No Strings Attached album, that's why they're dancing like marionettes, and you're like, oh yeah, of course. So eventually they figure out the dance. We never actually see the full resolution of their training where they do a big montage in this episode. Maybe they could be setting it up that in the finale they're going to do that if they win the final game. Who knows? Because they're on the verge of promotion into the Premier Leagues again if they win, I think, their next match, because Sam was able to score a hat trick in his last game and it has boosted them up to a new level. So that could be cool to see. So instead of sticking around for the party, it looks like the doctor is headed out on her way, and she's not even going to say goodbye to everybody. She leaves some notes to give to everyone, but Ted, being the guy he is, isn't going to have that. He goes to confront Fieldstone. They get again, this is a great moment. It's very evocative of Ted's character. I'm not going to quit. You can't just walk out on me. You know how I feel about these things when people just leave. My wife left and my dad left and everybody's leaving. I'm not going to have you leave too. But she's like, Ted, just look at the letter I wrote you. And great acting from Sudeikis here, where he's just, reading the letter in front of her in this angry state. And suddenly it becomes this very emotional thing. And she's like, I'm better at writing my goodbyes than saying them. And that's a great moment. It's just a really powerful moment. And I like it. We don't need to see the letter. We don't need to see it. If we see it, it loses some of the impact, because it's just yeah, everything that it could say is what we could think it could say, and that's what makes it special. We don't have to have the words down there. She knows everything about this man, so she's just giving him what he needs to hear in those words. We don't need to see it. That's cool to see. But she sticks around for a bit. They go to the pub. They have a couple drinks, and it's just a good feeling. Then, In classic fashion of a Ted Lasso thing, he leaves her just, mid-conversation, just walks away, giving her the goodbye that she wanted to give them, because that is how she communicates her goodbye. And she just ends things with, son of a bitch stole my move. Like, yep. It's great. It's beautiful. I love, that chemistry. I think in the second season of a show like this, having Ted's main arc be dealing with his panic attacks and his vulnerability because of his father, it's really impressive, because it could easily come across as just, we don't know what to do with Ted, so we're going to put him through some trauma, but it's like, we're going to help him. He's going to deal with his stuff. He's going to come out on top. He's being honest with his friends. He is communicating with the people in his life. He is coming together with all this stuff we haven't seen him come together with for his whole career. So it's really cool to have that kind of resolution. I have no doubts that maybe the Doctor's going to come back next season. Maybe she won't. Maybe we'll get a new person in the ranks doing something there. I mean, I'd love to see them do the Higgins doesn't have an office storyline again coming through everything here, but we'll have to wait and see. So I like that. Another big arc of this was this tale of this, rich, he's Ghana, he's from Ghana. I'm not sure you call a person from Ghana, but it is played by none other than Sam Richardson. If you want to get an incredibly funny, talented, nice guy, you get Sam Richardson. So he's playing this billionaire from Ghana, and he wants to talk to Rebecca about maybe buying Sam out of his contract because he's starting up this different league of his own. He can't say what it is, but when he takes Sam to walk around some museums and go to these dinners and stuff, all these things that he's bought for, you see what he's really going on here. So his goal, Sam Richardson's goal here, is kind of build the biggest Premier League team based mainly off of African players and African coaches and just African talent, and eventually by maybe the next couple decades they'll win what the hell's the cup called? The World Cup, is that what it is? And I'm like, that's reasonable goals. He's not saying next year we're gonna win, when we start we're gonna win. It's we could build up an actual team here based out, I think he said it was based out of Morocco, and we could build up all these things. I'm like, yeah, I like that. And I'm a big fan of Sam Richardson. Veep is one of my favorite shows of all time. His character, Richard Splett, and that is fantastic. Just seeing him show up anywhere, it makes me insanely happy. And he's a great choice for this kind of a role, because if you get anybody else, I think it comes across as more sinister, his intentions. But you get a guy like Sam Richardson, suddenly these goals seem not only realistic, but they seem like they're for a good reason. Sam is seriously considering being a part of this for his country, for his people, and that works. This isn't a bad guy trying to steal Sam away. It's hey, I want to do something special that the world has never seen before, and you are one of the guys who kind of took down a big corrupt government. I'd love to have you come in and help. And I think that's really cool, and it leads to this kind of realization from Rebecca that she doesn't know how she feels about Sam. She kind of confronts Ted about it in a scene that emulates, the previous season where she drops the truth of what she did to him. Now it's the same thing, hey, I think I like Sam and we've been having an affair. And again, he's yeah, well, you keep coming here every time this year and dropping truth bombs on me. I'm curious to see what's going to happen next. And I think that's great. And he's don't listen to me. Don't listen to anybody else. What your gut and heart are telling you. That's all you got to do. So when she goes to confront Sam later on, she's I can't give you an answer on us. I'm not going to tell you not to take it, but I hope you don't. And she leaves. And we don't get the resolution to if Sam is going to take the position. But if you look at it the parallels that we've seen pretty much throughout this season in the show between Rebecca and Ted, Ted wanted Fieldstone to stay, but she had to go. So it could be that Sam's going to leave, and that's going to give Rebecca that closure for that thing that she doesn't know she could get closure on. That could be something we see happening too. I wouldn't be surprised by that. And it's beautiful. It's a great way to just make me go, we have another episode left. What are we going to do? We'll come back to that at the end here, but we have another storyline we need to wrap up, and that is the stuff with Keeley and Roy, which they've been the power couple of the show. They're perfect. We get our first hint that something's wrong when Keeley is kind of you're smothering me. You're like a puppy dog following me around. And now there's some resolution here. So, like I said earlier, Nate kisses Keeley. That leads to some conflict. She's got a big photo shoot coming up for Vanity Fair where they're talking about influential women, and we see that Roy's kind of staying behind because he doesn't really want to do the photo shoot, but he's going to be in a couple pictures. He's talking to his niece's teacher for a couple hours, and when she asked if he's married, he just says no. He doesn't say anything else about Keeley. So when they come back later to do the photo shoot and Keeley's nervous, he does calm her down. But then they're sitting together and they're taking the photos, they're doing everything. They're staring at each other in this intense moment, and she just goes, "Nate kissed me today." It was weird, but nothing about it happened. He goes, "Well, I talked to my niece's teacher. She asked if I was married. I said no, and I didn't say anything else." Then Keeley says, "Jamie confessed his love for me at the funeral." No other words were spoken. They stare directly into camera, and just like, I'm pretty sure that's an homage to the ending of The Graduate. It has to be just like, everything that we wanted to say was out there now. Now what do? We just sit there silently and let it all reel in while we let the world around us happen. It's beautiful, it's smart, and I know some people just like, Keeley and Roy, they're forever, they're going to stay together, but are they? I think this show has shown us one thing in particular. It's that sometimes there's not a lot of strong romance in this show. Like, people get together and they're happy, but the only like lasting relationship that seems functional and happy is Higgins and his wife. Everyone else is just kind of like mixing in with these other things that don't always work. So maybe Keeley and Roy aren't a forever thing. Maybe in the final episode she's going to say like, "I think I like Jamie." Or maybe he's going to be like, "Well, I don't know if it's working," or something like that. You don't know, and I think that's pretty cool. A very interesting thing to see, just having that moment where both of them are just like, "Well, what do we do with this information? Maybe it'll bring us closer together and bring us stronger. Maybe with that comes the proposal. Maybe with that comes wanting the children. Who knows?" But it could just be like, maybe that just tells us we don't want to be together. And if that wasn't enough, if all that stuff wasn't enough for this finale, it's the penultimate. If all that wasn't enough for the penultimate, we do get one final moment here that kind of shatters everything. It's just like, yeah, that's not good. So Ted's at home. You know, he's getting ready to do whatever the hell he does for the night. And he gets a text from somebody that might be Trent Krim from The Independent. He's like, "This is going to be running in tomorrow's paper. It's already online." And we see that Coach Lasso suffers panic attack during the semifinal game, says anonymous source. Ted's heartbroken. And then we also see that Trent is just like, "I have to run this because it's my job as a writer. But as somebody who respects you, my anonymous source was Nate." Great way to end it. Great tension, great conflict. It seems very in line for Nate at this point to want to be on top, so he's going to try to get Ted to go down. Wow, that's a powerful finale. A powerful ending to this episode. I keep calling it the finale because I'm just like, there's another one. What else can you do here? It seems like your next thing would be like setting Nate up to be the kind of like mysterious villain, and Ted's working behind the scenes against him while Nate's working behind the scenes against him. We got another episode to figure out what's going on. So just ending it there on that cliffhanger is very strong and very cool. I'm just curious to see what's going to happen in the next episode, because you don't really know, and it's just really, really intense. And again, not a lot of people like Nate's character, but if you look at it from a character arc standpoint, this has been where he's been going the whole season, the whole show. He is the guy that is kind of like, he's the one that, out of anybody on our show, Nate's the one that would be the bad guy. It just makes sense, and it's just how things go. So I think that's really cool to see. It's just a great episode, and I cannot wait to see what next week brings us, because another episode of this, bring it on. I cannot wait. So that's going to do it for my review of this episode of Ted Lasso. Now, thank you guys for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.